Yeah, what's up, my people? Like the B. This na Mr. H. Omo, I don't show. Yes, my people. Finally, the Jagaban of Africa has been sworn in as the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And for his first speech, in talk say he go remove fuel subsidy. What are the implications of this? The first one be say, if they manage am well, maybe they partner with Dangote refinery, it might be a very good policy. But if they don't manage am well, my brother, my sister, as I dey follow you talk now, it will result into what we call hyperinflation. So it's time for you to go and buy whatever you need now before it adds money. My people, na so it be. But before then, we could see wetin IBB talk. IBB himself no dey happy with our electoral process. Oh yeah, now I'm gonna share this video so that others go see am. Oh yeah, now.
Good. So, looking at the democracy, Nigeria since 1999, how would you assess the evolution of the democratic process since that period of time, from that time to now?
Well, the evolution is good. It started very good, but, and this is a very strong but, there are a lot of mishaps on the process. For example, monetization of the process, I think, is not good enough. We should try to avoid that. We should try to concentrate on issues that are good for the country and good for the people of this country. And you judge and assess people based on their credibility, their background, and also their knowledge.
So, following from what you just said now, what do you think we can do to enhance our electoral process? We just saw the 2023 general elections. It came with some of its own flaws and issues. What do you think we can do moving forward to ensure that we have, a better electoral process?
Well, I think we have to reform the contest. For example, we talked about voter education, but I think we should go further. I believe that we had 95 million registered voters according to what we have, but those who voted are far less than half of the population. I think if we say, for example, based on what we have, 45 million voters registered, we ought to have at least 95 million voters registered. We ought to have at least 45 million, half of those that voted, to be an acceptable standard of, if we don't reach that, I think there is nothing wrong in doing a rerun.
Why do you think people are not turning out for elections in the country, from what you just said?
Yeah, well, I also feel there is too much work on INEC, too much burden. When you talk of voter education, you should allow the people, the institutions, whose job it is to educate the people in the country. INEC may not be the necessary body to do that. There are bodies within there are institutions within our country that should be able to provide that education to the voters. So we should allow them to do it. I think it will increase the number of people who are going to participate in this.
So the new government, the new administration is coming at a time when Nigeria seems to be faced with a lot of challenges in the economic front. High inflation, unemployment, reduced foreign direct investment. As someone who has taken charge of this country, what advice do you have for the incoming administration on how best they can tackle some of these issues?
Like I said earlier, this country is blessed. We have virtually answers to every problem as far as human resources are concerned. The economy, I told you, we have the best in the country, so much that some of them are serving other countries. We should tap them, we should bring them and use them to help the new administration redesign the whole economic process. We tried it, and I know it's tough, but we succeeded. Now, looking back, thank God on the measures we have put in place today, people are enjoying the free market drive.
As someone who has been in charge of Nigeria, tell us how...
For 2 times.
Yes, 2 times. Now, tell us exactly how tough is the job of being Nigeria's leader?
Tough?
Yes, how tough is it?
No, people see it as tough. But once you realize that you have got very bright citizenship who will always tell you no, who will always disagree with you, then it's not going to be tough, because you know, you can anticipate them, you can expect what they are going to say. Once you know that, I think you make it simpler for yourself.
Now, what would be your wishes for the new administration, your best wishes for the new administration?
Well, I wish them well, and I wish them, for everything they do, they think Nigeria first, and the welfare of the Nigerians should remain paramount in their minds.
I need you to speak to Nigerians about a certain subject which has to do with the country's unity. What do you think is missing?
I think leadership is at all levels is what is missing. The leaders tend to know what Nigeria should be, but maybe they need to develop how to get the people imbibe that culture of being a Nigerian. So the leadership has a role to play in this. That we are not doing very well.
Some people have talked about maybe Nigeria needs to have a new constitution.
They need what?
A new constitution. Maybe Nigeria will have to dump the 1999 constitution, come up with a different new constitution, or perhaps maybe go back to how things used to be in 1960. What is your own formula?
Well, I think what we said, that's what makes Nigeria unique. If you have a say, Nigeria will provide you with 1 million solution to one problem. And I think all this, we have third civilian constitution, we have a Republican constitution, we have all sorts of things, and a lot of them are there with us here in our country, put up, set up by various committees, various people. All we need to do to study what we have been through. There are a lot of pitfalls in those places. All we need to do is to go back, look at them, and set them right, and we will have no problem. But what we need is patience, to be patient enough at all the time to slowly go through them.
So, looking back, if you had the ability to maybe turn back the hands of time when you were the president of this country, were there things you think you would like to do differently? You will have done differently?
Well, I think there are a lot of things when you were in the position I was before. these things come about after listening to people, that what you did was this, what you did was bad, what you did was good. Then maybe if you reflect, you will say, maybe the people are right. I would have done this differently. But quite frankly, with the people I had, there's not much I could say that I want to do differently. We've tried.
So, do you have any regret whatsoever? Do you have any regret whatsoever?
Regret?
Yes.
No. Rather, to thank the Nigerians for trusting me with the enormous task of running the country. And they tolerated me for whatever they thought was my shortcomings.
Now, sir, I need you. You are our father. You are the elder statesman. You are our elder statesman. Has a number of challenges, especially in the economic front. High inflation, reduced foreign direct investment, there is unemployment, and these are very huge burden waiting for the new administration. How best would you think they should address and tackle some of these issues?
No, those are the burning issues now. The best option to tackle this is to open up the economy more. You have people who are very resilient, people who are hardworking, and you can direct them to whatever objectives you set for the country, because they will be willing. They have. This is why politics is good. You want them to do certain things, but you have to convince them. So the government should be able to give Nigerians a direction on unemployment and solving the problem of, and that will probably work.
So lately, the country that you governed, that you were the leader of, had been going through another serious challenge. This time, on the security front, we've had plenty of security challenges, and it's as if the country doesn't know how to go out of it. As a former president of Nigeria and a general in the Nigerian army, what advice would you give? How do you think we can solve all of these issues of banditry, kidnapping, even terrorism?
At the initial stage, when we started talking, I talked about paying attention in the armed forces, because I know these problems tended to overwhelm the armed forces. So you need to look, as a commander-in-chief, he needs to look at the entire setup of the armed forces. The purpose will be, they are members of the Nigerian society. They are also vulnerable to all the bad things the society is doing, but they are very small when compared with the population. So that's why I said the president should, as a commander-in-chief, to look at his whole structure outfit, armed forces, to retrain them, to reorganize them, and to give them a new sense of orientation on how to run an armed forces and security. Once that is done, the next thing is also to make sure that the leadership within those armed forces are truly well informed about the country. They know what the country stands for, what the country is expected of them as far as their allegiance is to the country, and so on.
Do you have any doubt about Nigeria's greatness?